Ooh, it is cold. Dobbie, you ready to go, Dobbie? Good morning, folks. Another cold day. Day after Halloween. I cannot believe it is already November. It's another cold morning out here in Arkansas. Got some things to do this morning, but when I get home, I'm going to do another painting. Since Halloween's over and we're kind of moving into the later part of the year, I think I'll switch over to more of a sci-fi type deal. There's somebody on Facebook right now. And but one thing I got to do this morning, I got to catch this guy here. Come here. I got to take this little man to get a haircut today, and he is not liking it. It's my little dog Dobbie here. He gets nasty if we don't get his hair cut. You can tell he's a nasty old man, Dobbie. Yeah. So I gotta go take care of a few things. I'll get home and we will start on another painting. Like I said, more of a sci-fi type feel to it. We'll do a few of those, and I'll see you in a minute. Dobbie. Whoa. You excited about getting a haircut today? You look pretty excited. Huh, Dobbs? Afternoon, everybody. Got Dobbie dropped off at the groomers. So we're going to do another landscape painting today. And as always, I got my trusty Mountain Dew and my trusty XP pen stylus here. I'm telling you guys, for the money, XP pen is the way to go. You getting into digital artwork. A lot of us don't have a whole lot of money. I've got a $300 laptop, and I'm using Autodesk Sketchbook, and I do subscribe to it. I'm using the Enterprise version in this, but there is also, I do also have the Pro version. And just to be honest with you, the reason I'm not using the Pro version is because I'm too lazy to download all my brushes into it. But I will get that done, and we will try out the Pro version here shortly. So like I said in my intro, Halloween's over. So we're going to kind of take it more towards a fantasy theme, and we're just going to see what happens. I've got some kind of rough ideas on what we're going to do in this landscape, but we'll just see where it takes us. Alright. So the first thing we're going to do is set our image size. And for a landscape, I usually do 20 by 16, but today I think we're going to do 20 by 12. And let's see, yeah, that's a good size. And with these little pucks that you get, that you can use on Sketchbook, it makes it really easy to resize, zoom in, zoom out. I know in my last video I talked about zooming in and zooming out, but it's just that easy. You just use the puck, you right click it, you go to the magnifying glass, and you can zoom way in, zoom way out. You can move your piece around however you want to. Pretty handy dandy little stuff there. And one thing you do have to be careful of, if you have these toolbars kind of all over your screen, you could miss part of your painting. I've done that a few times before. So you do have to be careful of that. Make sure that you're getting this corner of your canvas when you're doing your painting. Alright, everything looks good. enough talking about this. Let's get this thing going. So we're going to throw a little symmetry down just to get the sky and the ground, and always lock your symmetry in place, so that way you don't accidentally grab that little tool right there in the middle and screw your symmetry line up. So as always, we're going to start with a few clouds, and this time we're not just going to do straight up black and white. We're going to put a little color into this thing, and then I'll bring more color out when we adjust it. But kind of for what I'm thinking here, this color should work out good. And again, I'm just kind of playing with this, not really trying to create anything at this point. I'm just kind of seeing which way the wind blows us. Turn that opacity down just a little bit. I apologize if you keep hearing my phone going off. I've just got a few little other things going on today, and I will try not to interrupt this video with them. But if you see me checking it, that's all it is. All right. This music, I don't know if you can hear it, it's in the background. It is supposed to be duty-free, royalty-free music. Some kind of meditation music or something to that effect. But we will see. Yesterday I was pretty upset. I got hit with a copyright claim after I'd done an entire video. And believe me, these things take all day. It's not like I just throw this up in a few minutes. Between the time I start recording till I got it posted on YouTube was literally all day yesterday. And the main reason was because I had it posted and I was at the stage of the video where I was kind of getting everything together for YouTube, and then boom, I get hit with a copyright claim. And it was because, and it's my own fault, I should have double checked, because I got some music from what was supposed to be a copyright free source. But it wasn't, of course, and you know, how convenient that they wait till you get your video uploaded to hit you with it. But no matter, we pursued on and got it fixed. The thing is, you just have to be careful with it, and it screwed my video up at the end. And it was kind of a weird video anyway, because I sped up the sound on it. I sped the whole video up so that it wouldn't take forever. And what happened was, there toward the end of the video, I just had to play one of my own songs that I created myself, so that I knew I wouldn't run into any more trouble. And it all worked out. And man, I tell you, my website over at AmericanOjisan.com is starting to take off a little bit, and I really appreciate that. I really thank you guys for checking that stuff out. I've tinkered with this for years, and I'm just now kind of starting to take this a little bit more serious as far as getting this thing up and going. I just love creating art and sharing it with folks, and it would be cool if I could get this thing to take off. I love talking about my tablet, my software, and just trying to kind of help folks out that are maybe getting into this and they don't know where to start, if they're good enough, stuff like that. And I'm telling you, you are good enough. You just need to get in there and get started on this. There's a lot of little tips and tricks I'll throw out there, but the main tip and trick I can tell you is just to have fun. Do this because you enjoy doing it. And you know, the old master himself, Bob Ross, his whole show and his whole technique and style was built around how to create these art pieces that look like you have spent hours and hours and days working on them, when in reality it's kind of a trick of the light, you know. And it doesn't take away from the art at all. It's still your expression, it's still your artwork. But things like these textured brushes that I use, some people may look down on that, but that's fine. I make this art for myself and for me, and enough people enjoy it that I'm not too worried about if some art snob is dissing it because I'm using textured brushes. And there are a few of those people out there, believe me. We all know that, right? I use these textures and these brushes basically just to kind of speed things up. And I really love the ones that are built into Sketchbook here. And these are created by other artists. I mean, all these brushes, these collections are made by some artist that actually built this brush because he needed a certain texture. So really, what I'm doing here is just taking a piece of a tool that somebody else has created, and I'm using it. So I don't feel like in any way it takes away from this art. And there's a lot of amazing digital artists out there on YouTube, and they do a lot of awesome things, and really at a higher level than I do. I'm kind of the everyman's version here. Said I'll try to kind of help everybody out and show you a few of the tricks I use to create the things I create. But like I said, I think enough people enjoy what I do that it's worth it to me. And all these little shapes and things that I'm throwing in, I can't sit here and tell you that I have any kind of a plan for these things. I'm just kind of throwing them in there. Hope everybody had a good Halloween. Watched some scary movies. Maybe you got a little scared. It's always good for you. So now we're getting to the drawing part of this, right? And sometimes I try to talk as much as I can to kind of keep you engaged, but sometimes I may get a little quiet here just because I'm kind of getting lost in thought, trying to get this this image out of my head and onto this screen here. You guys ever watch the old Bob Ross shows on PBS? I used to watch them, and my mother does a lot of painting herself, and she paints like old saw blades and old pieces of wood and stuff like that. She makes some really cool things, and but she's always been a huge Bob Ross fan. I think she just liked his afro. When I was a kid, you know, I kind of grew up here in Arkansas, but through whatever twist of fate, I ended up in California for a long time, and my buddies in California, they remember me. But anyway, so we when we moved out there, my mom found a job working in an art gallery in Morro Bay, California. And I don't know if you've ever watched the sequel to Finding Nemo, Finding Dora, but or Dory, is that her name? Dory, Finding Dory. But that's where that was based, is in Morro Bay, California. So I thought it was pretty cool that was in that movie. But it was a Parkhurst gallery, and it was an artist by the name of Violet Parkhurst. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. It was one of her galleries, and she had a lot of red skeleton stuff there, and I actually got to meet her on a few occasions, and she was really a nice lady. But her art, she does like seascape paintings and stuff, but her art was pretty amazing, and she was a really, really nice person. She was really good to me and my mother, and kind of got the juices flowing for... I was always kind of where I could draw, and I would draw little things. One of my favorite things to draw, especially in high school, was I don't know if there's any Iron Maiden fans out there, but the mascot from Iron Maiden, Eddie, was one of my favorite subjects. And you can see a whole lot of that influence in my zombie paintings. A whole lot of it. So you can tell a lot of what I'm doing here is I'm laying down some texture, then I'm going back with the eraser and I'm cleaning up around the edges to leave that texture on what I want it to be on, taking it off of everything else. And that is why getting good with your layers is so important. And when you're doing these kind of things, these kind of little scenes, landscapes, miniature landscapes, whatever you want to call them. You notice all this noise in the background. It's fine. Just start throwing some stuff out there and find the colors that you're looking for. It doesn't have to look like anything. Don't put that much pressure on yourself. Just go with it and have fun. Now, of course, you do need to know some basics as far as value and some basic ways to shade and shadow things, but for the most part you can just kind of jump into this and just start making stuff. And I've actually only been back into this artwork, and especially the digital artwork, for just a little over a year now. And if you go out there on my DeviantArt site, you can look at some of the first stuff I started posting there, and it was pretty rough, man, because I was way out of practice. And this art, just like anything else, you just have to stay in practice with it. But anyway, so you know, just getting back into this. I'm about a year in, and you can see the progression I've already made. And you know, like I said, I've never claimed to be some super great artist. I just do what I like, and it seems to resonate with folks. Now what I'm doing here is kind of snapping in a shoreline because we're fixing to turn the symmetry off for a minute, and when I do that, I gotta have some kind of a guideline here. And notice I put that on a separate layer so I can go back and do what I want to do with that later on. So the water down here, now like I said in my last video, they do have a lot of textured brushes for water, and they work really good, and I may use some of them on here. But really, you can just smudge that water. And I'm sorry, I got my brushes all kinds of messed up today. You can just kind of smudge this. And one thing I noticed when I went back and watched my last video is forgot to turn the line of tool off. Is I noticed that I wasn't sticking with the direction. Oh, of course, guys. Here I'm talking all this mess, and I didn't snap my layers back together, so basically was smudging nothing there. Now when you snap those layers together like that, like I just did, and you've got a couple chances to go undo it all. When you do that, you are making a commitment at this point, because your layers are then gone, right? So make sure all this is set the way you want it before you start snapping it. Alright, there we go. So what I was saying was, I noticed that the direction of my smudges that I was trying to do the water on were just kind of all over the place. And you want it to have a nice direction to it. To give it that appearance of water. Okay, so now we've got a nice reflection going on here, and we can go a little deeper here, and you can turn that up a little bit, and it'll kind of give it this kind of ripply effect here. Sorry about that, guys. I had to bug out there for a second. It sounded like somebody was here, but they were not. So see, just kind of break up these lines and give it a nice little kind of ripple effect. And don't get too crazy with this. Because you can go from looking pretty good to pretty bad pretty quick. But you can always, and the beauty of digital artwork is you can always hit the old undo button right here. The thing with the undo button is it only undoes to a certain point. Right, so you can't just go back and go crazy with it. And you can save your work at certain points if you're not confident enough to just kind of keep it going. And that's a good idea too, because there's a lot of times I wished I had done that. Alright, so now this layer that I have this this line on that we put in, what we're going to do is cut that line back a little bit. We're going to erase some of it out. And I don't want my eraser to be super strong for this. Because we don't want it to be like just super cut and dry here. We want to give just kind of an impression of a shoreline. Just kind of the edge of the water is what we're trying to show here. And I don't want it to be exactly the same on the top and the bottom. And the other thing I do, said the more you follow my work here, is I adjust these out after I finish them, and this would look fine just the way it is right here, and I'm happy with it. But sometimes I can go, and when I start playing with the adjustment, I can find something else that really looks good to me, something else that I think brings a little bit to these, a different look. And so I use that quite a bit. And some folks really guard all the little tricks they use to bring their art to life, and I don't. I really don't care. Okay, so we are going to use some of these little details here, these wave brushes, and we're going to play with it for a second though, because I'm not sure exactly how it's going to turn out. And these are just to kind of help, I better put a new layer down like I keep preaching about, right? These are just kind of to help me get the effect I want. They're not the main focus of the art. Yeah, okay. So we're looking pretty good here, right? I'm liking the way this is going. Now, I don't really have a sun up in the sky, so let's see if we want to do a sun in the sky first. Now when I do this, I gotta remember to turn my symmetry back on. And I'm thinking the sun will be over here. And this is that glow brush that I used in my last video. I used it to kind of create those effects in the sky. And I'm not sure I really like that. Another thing you can do is just go with any old regular brush. I'm going to beef up the size here and the opacity just a little bit, and we can just kind of drop it in right there like that, and then we can go back with that glow brush and hit it right in the middle, and I like to use that same color. Now the other thing too is this down here, we'll have to go back and smudge this again real quick. I'm not sure if you'd really call that a sun, but you know what, we'll just leave that up to everybody else to decide kind of what that is. Just like these little things right here. I kind of had it in my mind to maybe put some kind of a little creature here in the water, but I'm not going to. I think this kind of stands really well as it is. And we'll put a little glow on these shrooms here. Alright, just got to smudge our water a little bit more. And then I think we're going to be just about, I apologize for that phone going off, everybody, just about to the point where we can adjust this thing out, call it good. and just play with these tools. Just get in here and just play with them. See what you can do with them. You might really surprise yourself. Alright, folks. Let me turn my symmetry off. Get a nice oil brush here. And we'll sign this thing, then we're going to adjust it out. That's kind of shaky. Why am I so shaky? Alright. And it is almost 2020, so I'll have to start signing these things Ojisan 20. And this video's not been too long, so I probably won't speed this one up. I sped that last one up and it kind of sounded funny because it was a long video. And I didn't want to put you guys through a whole hour of me drawing. So the program I like to use to adjust my works out in is Filmora, this program. Just because I've used it a lot, I like it. I like what it does for me. But there's a ton of these out there. This is by no means the only one. There are dozens and dozens. So you guys see what I did there? See, I screwed it up. I've got to go back now and fix this. Wow. So when I blurred, and hopefully it'll let me back up enough, when I blurred the water, I did not. And see, that's as far back as I'm going to get to go. Luckily, that's far enough. Got to show you my screw-ups as well as my triumphs here, right? So what I did was when I blurred the water down there, I forgot to turn the symmetry off. So I was blurring the little balls of light in the sky at the same time. This will just take a second to fix this, and then we'll get this thing finished up and adjusted out. I'm so sorry. Okay, now with the symmetry off, we're going to go blur these reflections in the water. No symmetry. Alright, it is off. I wonder how many of you guys caught that when I was doing that. Why didn't you say anything? Oh, I'm just kidding. I wish I could do these live. I really do. Yeah, I would love. I do have a Twitch channel, but I have not got the bandwidth to pull that off. I would love to get on Twitch and do a live drawing, live painting with everybody, and just really hang out. But this is as close as I can do for right now. Okay, there we go. Boom. Now we're going to sign it again real quick. And then we're going to go adjust it out in Filmora. And then we'll be done. I am truly sorry. I did not mean to add that little extra step there. Maybe I'll get a smoother signature this time. Okay, I'm going to save this one more time. Take a big swig of Mountain Dew. Calm down. We're going to open this with Photor once again. Ah, that looks better. So this is what I'm talking about with these filters. Just like filtering a photograph for Instagram. I'm really liking that one. I like using these filters because, like I said, it may bring out something I didn't see. A new look. There have been times where I've gone through every filter and I just didn't find anything I liked, so I just left it the way it was. Alright, so this one right. Where was that? There. Angel's Kiss. We're going to go with that one. And then I adjust out the colors and the saturation and the contrast and all that good stuff. And I really hope you guys enjoyed your time hanging out here with me, because I enjoy it. I really like hearing all the feedback, and I really appreciate those of you who watch these videos and give me some likes and some subscribes. Maybe eventually someday this is what I can do. And see, this is still going to be a little messed up because of the little symmetry blur thing. But you know what? We're going to leave it. We're going to leave it just the way it is. So only you folks who were here with me are going to know the secret of the messed up spot in the sky. Because I really don't want things to be perfect. I kind of think it takes away if things are perfect. I'm liking that right there, guys. We're going to save that. I will have it posted up on DeviantArt today. I'll probably share it on Facebook and Instagram as well. Please, guys, if you haven't, check out my website, www.americanojisan.com. Get the word out. If you know some folks that love this kind of stuff, just want to hang out and draw a little bit, maybe get a few tips from somebody that messes up their paintings just like I do, and then just hang out. Let's just draw. It's just there's not enough art in the world, so let's get it out there. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. And also remember this, that Ojisan is out there and I have got your back. If you need anything, reach out to me. And until the next video, Ojisan out.